So hello world, I am getting ready still, just a little bit. I have Cheerio gunk all inside my trackball. Oh, we'll just have to deal with that when we get to it. So, let me get Ben up. Wow, it's already up. I'm kind of impressed. Tinker's like, but mom. Alright, so we have 196 images remaining. Refresh for good measure. Throw Cheerios at the dog. And launch that. And hit transition. And yeah. So hello. Oh, I have a message in Discord. I got an exciting email I'll read later. I'm not going to read it now. But 196 remaining, Veronica. Let me move chat so it's a little easier for me to see when I'm mapping. And there we go. Hey, Kevlar. Hey, Selly Cat, Selly2 Cats. Hey, Eric. Hey, Paranor. Hey, Mike. So yeah, hello. Sully, I don't think I've ever seen you before. So, hi, I'm Annie. And we're hate mapping Bennu. This is not a normal streaming time for us. But Bennu, like laundry, needs to be done. Unlike laundry, once Bennu is done, it's done. Oh, you think Sully's been here before? I might just not remember. I still have vacation brain. That's my excuse and I'm sticking with it. So anyways, I fed the cat. And he should be good. Probably for the rest of the evening, believe it or not. It's just relatively early in the morning when he's annoying. Yes, laundry is forever. I am very grateful I live with another human being who does laundry. And will just do laundry for days. Ah, you're a Twitch newbie. Okay, well, thanks for not lurking. And also, because it's after 9 o'clock local streamer time, I'm in Eastern time zone, I get to drink beer on stream. Instead of just, you know, occasionally mentioning it. Oof. It is, for those of you that are curious, I'm not sure how well that's going to show up. It's by Platform Beer Company, and it's part of their Kettle Sour series. Orange Blossom Goza style. Or goes, or gauze. You got a dozen images mapped earlier this evening. Well, good. I'm glad. That's more than what I do in a day. And I am not ashamed to admit this. Yes, Tinkerbell, we know you're there. Tinker's like, you're talking to the computer and all the lights are on and I saw you put on makeup, Mom. Where are my Cheerios? So there are 2 dogs and a cat. You may not hear the cat. The cat sounds like a baby. But I think I got him squared away for the evening. I'm not sure why he's more active in the earlier time of the day versus the evening, but I'm okay with this. This works out for me. So, yeah. So we're below 200 at some point tonight. I will try to remember to update the spreadsheet. I also have a post-it note on the side of my computer about coming up with a query. And for Wednesday, I still need to do my slides. And there's a launch on Wednesday too. I'm not sure if it's going to be streamable. Because I think it's a Ross Cosmos launch. And I think they're just doing a test flight. I'm not entirely too sure what's going on. It is The same flight number that was aborted within this past year. And I've also seen things. Hey! Yeah, I know. I hear it too. It's just a truck. Where are you going? Come here, let me pet you aggressively. He's like, I don't want to be pet aggressively, Mom. Let me pet you aggressively while I mark rocks. Yeah, it's just a matter of retraining myself to hit F1 instead of control. I know you guys still hear a bit of the barking, but you don't hear all of the barking. And you also miss out on me yelling at them to stop barking. You want to run away? Okay, you can run away now. He still has burrs stuck in his fur from when he was at my mom's. And he doesn't like it when I try to pull him out. I hate this field because it's not quite rocks, and it's not quite boulders. You get like lumpy in between stuff. And I have zero patience for rocks. I know, Tinkerbell. I heard it too. Boulder rocks is Abraham Lincoln's fear. Yeah, I'd agree. Boulder rocks is a good way to put it. So hello, I don't think I've ever seen you before. Welcome to Doing a Science. The science needs done. I hate this asteroid. I am not shy about the fact that I hate this asteroid. And, yeah. I am heat mapping and drinking for science, literally. And you can do science too. Oh, you lurk from time to time. Aha! So you do know who I am and you do know what I'm doing. I just don't know who you are because I don't check the lurkers. That's a lot of work. Eric asks, how is it that every time you stream, we're on the same images as the 6th time now? Not seeing bits on my chat bar. Is there a new format or glitch? It's right next to the emoticon for me. But I will preemptively throw bits at the dogs. I have chat popped out as well as, make it rain! I have it next to the emoticon button. But, oh, no wonder why it's not clicking rocks, because I have the boulder too. Oh wow, bits are gone. They're not gone. I see your screen name, Kevlar. I think Twitch is being twitchy. You know, the usual Twitch is being twitchy thing. Drag the dots. Drag the dots. Oh, is that what happened? And Eric, I'm not sure. I think it just means that you and I are working on like the same batch of images. Like we haven't worked too far in advance of everybody else. But I have my chat popped out and it's showing just fine for me. I don't usually have chat popped in. So there's that. I don't even know what that was. Okay, it's okay. So favorite human is going to be home probably in 30 minutes. So we'll probably do, because I've already done, what, 3 or 4 images today? We'll probably do this image and then another image, and then we'll update the spreadsheet, and then I'll call it good. This image is just, it's full of hate and dots. Dr. Pamela is looking for art for like some sort of simple line art that would be good for a tattoo of Bennu. And some of the other like art that was posted on Discord was really cool and really artsy, but too complicated for a really small tattoo. She's talking like an inch. So for those of you that don't use inches, that's like 2.5, 3 centimeters. Salty and orange. Yeah. So just kind of simple line art. I am right now kind of a fan of a diamond that's just full of blue dots. It will make sense to next to no one. She does want it to be kind of recognizable. She wants it on her forearm. So, yeah. And, you know, it's her body, her tattoo, so she's gonna do what she wants. She's just looking for help for a thing. Now, if we come up with a good image that can be added to, like, or turn into, like, a temporary tattoo, one design or another, I mean, I would do that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, more, it's generally the case with most art, is the more space you have, the more detail you can go into. And I mean, and tattoos aren't like pixel art. You can't just jam a bunch of pixels. It's from everything I understand, it's kind of like drawing, but you're drawing with a needle into skin. So you can't just sit there and be like, I want this pixel to be exactly this color. But it just doesn't work that way. Oh, Tinkerbell. 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 Another weird L-shaped one. There, that's how I'm marking you. That's how I have decided to mark you. I am really digging these new glasses. I like the fact that I can see and that there's not a whole lot of reflection. Part of me is like, I want to call this one done. I know there's a bunch of little rocks, and I know 14 other people are going to look at this image and do a much better job at marking all the little rocks. I'm looking at you, Mike. I think Mike and a few others have gotten it down to where it, because they do things in a certain way, like rocks first, then boulders. They don't have to worry so much with the glitch I just have. So Abram Lincoln Sphere asks, what sort of scale are we looking at here? For instance, how far apart are the 2 green line segments at the bottom left? So each side of the image is 22.5 meters. So it's 22.5 meters across and 22.5 meters down. And each pixel is 5 centimeters. So take a dollar bill, fold that into thirds, and that's roughly 5 centimeters. Eric says, Mike's in Discord talking about ice particles in Saturn's rings. I believe it. I try to use things that Americans are familiar with that are decent approximations of metric rather than just going, oh, it's so many inches, because I am terrible at really switching between the two in my brain, and it's just easier for me to go 5 centimeters is about 1/3 of a dollar bill. So, and yes, Paranor, I wish the US would just go metric already. I really, really do. It would make my life so much easier. It'd make so many people's lives so much easier, but they just don't know it. Oh, yay, there's the bits! And make it right! Because she barked twice. I had to kind of get it in there quick. So, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you were using the Twitch app. See, I just use everything web-based. I should probably start using the Twitch app, though, on my computer, so I can just log in as myself and not have to open up a private window and then get the Authy code and literally do that every time I log in. Yeah, the, I don't know. I wish Theos would hurry up and go metric already. But there's just too much stuff. There's too many people invested in standard, and there's like too many older machining tools that are set to be used better in, it's not standard, in not metric. So Abrams says, man, when I did stream, I used the web browser. So I use the web browser when I'm on CosmoQuest. When Dr. Pamela is streaming, I try to type under my own name so it doesn't get confusing, under my own screen name. And that's what I'm thinking about getting the Twitch app for on my computer, is literally so I can log in as, you know, Binary and Blaze, and stay logged in as Binary Blaze and not have to worry about constantly getting the Authy code. So Imperial, thank you, Eric. Imperial. So yeah, there's all of that. Are you comfy, Puck? He looks comfy. And I know for a long time, because the Switch will take many, many years, I know for a long time that people, especially mechanics and so on and so forth, are going to have to keep a set of Imperial tools and a set of metric tools. But my dad does that already. I do that already. It's a thing, it's annoying, but it's just kind of a fact of life. And I'm happy that most of the things that I know I need tools for on the fly are indeed metric. Like, my scooter uses metric. My bicycle, even though I don't ride it as much as I used to, bicycles use metric in the US. Things like that. Newer bikes, at least. Alright, I am calling this image done, because F this image. Ooh, heard that loads of construction work worldwide is still done in Imperial. I did a calculus class that had engineers in it, and I just remember doing a problem in foot-pounds, and I was really, really annoyed. And the professor was older. He's like, there are engineers. They have to know how to work in foot-pounds. I'm like, but metric though. Like countries where they use metric for everything else. Oh, wow. Wow. So like the UK, I could see the UK doing that. I can see... I wouldn't be surprised if Kenya does that. Kenya mixes units. Make it rain! Actually, not that... Kevlar says, actually not that bad if you're a mediocre mechanic like me. If one strips a bolt, metric tool sometimes helps. Aye. Alright, for real, I'm done with this one. And image done. Give it a second or two. I had a screw so stuck on my faucet. I had a leak on the faucet. Everybody's like, just take the handle off, you know, replace the thing, and that's how you fix it. I'm like, that's great though, but I can't get it off. Called a plumber. Plumber's like, I can't get it off either. I'm like, I really want this leak to stop. Because, you know, the leak was causing other damage. So he ended up cutting it off and totally replacing my faucet. And I still have a hole in my wall. Stripping a bolt just made me think of that. I used like all sorts of loosener. It didn't want to come off. And the plumber was like, yeah, I can't do it either. Oh no! That's kind of hilarious though. Abram says, when I was young, I got into my dad's ratchet set, which was a mix of imperial and metric. My innocent mind thought that metric was for people who didn't understand fractions. Oh no! I get that though. I get that. It makes sense. It really does. You're like, these are about the same size. Why are some of them in whole numbers and why are some of these in fractions? I get it. I can see how a kid would make that mistake. I can see how an adult could make that mistake. And it works until you take, you know, the two that you think are about the same size and you try to use them and one works and one doesn't and you're like, oh, I see now. This one's not too bad. So after this one, we're going to mess with the spreadsheet. Because that will put me actually at 5 images for today. And I got it started a bit later than I wanted to because I had to make my slide up for the retreat for PSI. And what happens when I'm late on stuff is that I think it's our admin person nags Dr. Pamela, and Dr. Pamela very nicely nags me. So me getting this done on time avoided all the nagging. And it literally took me longer to find a good image that I liked of a space toilet than it did to create the slide. And the idea is that it's a lightning round and you get 1 minute to talk about your science. Well, I'm not a scientist. I just play one on Twitch. And so, yeah, I'm like, well, here's what I do. I stream science. I do data visualization. I do community engagement because, yes, that can be considered its whole own thing, by the way. and space toilets. So I like that, Abram. Abram says every human is a scientist, like it or not. I like that. A lot of people are like, oh, what do you think about da 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 da? I'm like, that is out of my wheelhouse of knowledge. Now talk to me about space toilets, and you know, you've got yourself a thing. And yes, Paranor, curiosity is the basis of science. Oof. Abram says, we are forced to use the scientific method on lots of stuff. It's just whether or not you choose to call it that. Correct. And that scientific method is essentially like you make an observation, you make a prediction based on that observation, you know, your hypothesis. You go and test your prediction, and you record your result. And that's the very basic method. Now, when you actually go and write a paper and do science, or write a paper and potentially, you know, do a science. There's a lot of research, as in, like, has anybody done this before? What were their experiments like? You can also just replicate somebody's experiment. Yeah. Eric making peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. Good night, Cassidy. My Cassidy, sleep well. Yeah, and, you know, kind of, as Eric says, kind of like me in the kitchen. Or like him in the kitchen. Yeah, I will read a bunch of recipes, and then I usually end up noticing things that they have in common. Like, when I made rock cakes, for example, I read probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 different recipes. Like, okay, they all call for butter, they all call for flour, they all call for an egg, they all call for dried fruit. What not all of them called for were spices, seasonings, vanilla, and most of them called for like raisins as the dried fruit, and some of them were like, you know, you can use other stuff. Which is why when I made the rock cakes, I was like, you wanna know what I like? I like cherries. What does favorite human like? Favorite human likes cherries. So, yeah. Hi, Vonsgred. Vonsgred asks, what are the real dimensions of the things on those photos? Like, what would be the size of the rock if it was exactly the size of the blue dot? So, I think the blue dot is 5 to 10 pixels wide? I'm not sure. But I can tell you that 1 pixel on this screen is 5 centimeters. If you don't know what 5 centimeters looks like and you're in the US, take a $1 bill, fold it into thirds. That's about, the short end is about 5 centimeters. Each image across is 22.5 meters, and down is 22.5 meters. So these boulders that, oh good, you understand meters and centimeters. Awesome. I am very happy to hear that, Vons. So yeah, it's 22.5 meters by 22.5 meters. So these images, you know, the boulders are kind of decently big. The one up in the corner is probably a meter or 2. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad all of those numbers helped you visualize, like, the scale that we're looking at things. I can't remember how wide the blue dot is. I'm guesstimating 5 to 10 meters. So, Sellycat says 5 centimeters would be just about 2 inches. Yeah, maybe. Alexa, convert 5 centimeters to inches.
5 centimeters is 1.97 inches.
That was really good, Silly to Cats, at 1.97 inches. That's a good way to think of it. Ah, okay. You got conversion down pat. The US military actually has to use metric units for everything. So we actually, because I was in the there's active duty army, which is full-time regular army. There's Army Reserves, where that's national level. They go in our part-time, and there's also the state level where they go part-time National Guard, and I was National Guard. And yeah, you're right. Historically, it was not metric, but now everything that I remember learning was metric. Which, add that to growing up on imperial numbers, and you're like, what? But yeah, you're right. Historically, not everything was metric. I think when we joined NATO, or I think it's because we're a part of NATO is why we have to use metric. Which I am okay with. That is not at all what I wanted to do. So the dog is sitting just up. No, there was part of one dog on the camera, but not both dogs. 8 or 9 making the plastic model of a Russian tank and asking myself why the gun is 62.2 millimeters and 75, for example. Shooting rounds, 3 inches, gotcha. Yeah, not, I think in the US, ammo is mixed under both imperial and metric. I really don't know because I don't own a firearm. I don't have any ammo. I have very little interest in it. In fact, I was terrified of weapons when I first went into basic training, and now I have a healthy fear/respect for them. So yeah, NATO rounds I think are 7.62. Are they? All I can think right now is 5.56. And that's what goes into an M16, also the AK things. Yeah, I do appreciate that NASA does stuff with metric and decimal. So, almost all of the science stuff that's done here in the US uses metric. So I was, that's what it was. AKs were 7.62. So when I was I would not advise this. When I was unofficially a double major for chemistry and computer science, everything I did in chemistry was in metric. Everything I did in any of my physics classes, metric. If it was literally a science class where we had to measure anything, metric, period. End of sentence. Full stop. It was when I went into calculus is where we started messing around with different units, and I was not happy about that. So yeah, if you do science stuff in the US, it's all in metric. There's none of this, imperial business. And things like remembering the boiling point and freezing point of water in Celsius, which is freezing point is 0 and boiling point is 100, is a whole lot easier than remembering 32 and what is it, 212? And if somebody asks you, like, let's say for example you work at a gas station and you're being inspected, and somebody asks you, okay, for food safety, you know, what is, you know, what should the temperature of the water for the coffee be? And you know it needs to be boiling, but you can't just say boiling. They want a number. If you say 100 degrees Celsius, they might grumble. They'll pull out their smartphone. They'll convert it to Celsius, or they'll convert it to Fahrenheit, and they'll be like, "Okay, yeah, that's right." So, yeah. So, yeah, I think it's 212. I'm not entirely too sure. The only thing where temperature doesn't quite make sense for me in Celsius is when you're talking about the like weather temperature. I know 30 degrees Celsius is hot and I don't want anything to do with it. And I know anything below like 5 is going to be cold. But when we get into things like, oh, it's 14, what's the difference between 14 and 20? Like, that doesn't make sense quite in my head. I have a general idea, but I don't quite understand. Meanwhile, if you tell me, oh, it's going to be 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and tomorrow it's going to be 80 degrees, I will quite appropriately just go, oof. Because it's 10 degrees, but it feels a whole lot different. Kevlar says, more important, what is the rake width needed to rake rocks on Bennu? I'm like, I don't know. I think the tines should be 10 centimeters apart. That'll get most of everything. Starchface says, the difference is 6. Yeah, but is it like a huge, does it feel like a huge difference? Like, am I going to need a hoodie and a jacket, or do I just need the hoodie or just the jacket? That's what I mean by I don't quite understand it. And when I was in Kuwait, even though Kuwait uses metric, we used Fahrenheit on the base. So if I was listening to the radio, I'd get the weather in metric. And it was usually, all I remember in the summer is that it would be 30 or above. And, but on post, all the thermometers and stuff we had were all in Fahrenheit. So, yeah, it does. Basic training joke? I don't get it. The difference is 6. Oh, 21 is considered room temperature? That is good to know. Oh! I didn't do a lot of raking in basic. I did a lot of picking up trash. Which, when we got out of training areas and then I had to like police trash in places where people smoked cigarettes, that just got gross. And yes, Vons, it does depend on the wind, sun, and weather. 14 can be warmer than 20 anyways. I guess it depends on how humid it is. I just remember my friend's mom leaving a note on the mirror in Hong Kong saying that it would be 14 degrees outside, and I was like, I don't know what this means. But I thought it was a cute note. I couldn't read it, by the way. I could just read the numbers. All right. So we are at 10:22. This is my second image, which puts me in either 5 or 6 for the day. We can check the leaderboard to be sure. I say I'm done, and then... You want more Cheerios? They're starting to get jumpy. All right, so I'm gonna hit submit for real this time, or image done rather. It's gonna take its good old time to think about it. Part of me is like, this one's not so bad. Another part of me is like, no, this will take me at least 5 minutes. No. Okay. Let me pull up that. Let me adjust. I know. Just that. And where is the database? Has the database disconnected me? I don't think so. Alright, so here's the spreadsheet. And I have the database up. So for 6, we're at 21. I know we've made decent progress. We're at 50 for 7. That makes sense. Eight. 113 for 8. That's awesome. That number actually went down instead of up. 9 is 4. That actually makes me very happy. 10 is just 1. 11 is 2 still, so we skipped to 12. There's 1 image at 12. None at 13. None at 14. There should be none at 15. None at 15. So 192. Let me block out some of my code. And yeah, 192. Boom! We're almost done with one master. Like completely done with one master. Because how it serves the images is that it does one master image at a time. And each of those masters are divided up into 9 images. And it literally serves the whole 9 images at once in a row. And as we complete the individual images, it takes them off the board. Alright, night Kevlar. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to wrap it up here. So yeah, we have done, since yesterday, we've done 100 images. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty freaking awesome. I'm not going to plug this into the magic crystal ball. Because that's one extra step, and I'm a little anxious about the noises outside actually being favorite human. So we are going to wrap it up, and I'm going to do the wall of text and roll the credits and things of that nature. So just kind of get everything all lined up. Refund. Live actions. Alright. So, this has been a production of PSI, that's Planetary Science Institute, working in collaboration with Youngstown State University. Here in Youngstown, it's dark outside, Ohio. Also, my dogs want more bits. We are brought to you by you, so literally thank you for everything. Thank you for doing a science. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for all of your support. Financial, emotional, and otherwise, and yeah, keep being awesome. If you miss one of our shows, everything's archived on YouTube. Our next regularly scheduled stream is at 1700 hours UTC tomorrow, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. That will be hosted by Dr. Pamela Gay, unless the world collides on us again, which things happen. We'll see. You'll find out tomorrow, I guess. And I will see you again either tomorrow night or Wednesday for Daily Space. There is a launch Wednesday night. I don't know the time, the details, or if there's going to be a stream, blah da 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 da. I'll keep you posted. And yeah, I think that's all the things for the wall of text. So have a wonderful insert time of day here. I'm going to do that awkward roll the credits thing because, you know, that's how we roll. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Bye.